거울아, 거울아.
Judicator, I share your grief for the loss of Korun and Rock. I did not know them long, but their fire burned bright enough to illuminate even a shadow warrior such as I. They were prepared to fight. Unfortunately, preparing for loss does not always come so easily.
How many more must die? How many have already been sacrificed? Kas, Adun, Jabok, Argus, Tassadar?
And Kaldaris.
뭐야?
Kaldaris?
걘 또 누군데?
Long ago, Judicator, I was once a zealot of your people. It was in that glorious time of peace and tranquility that I knew Kaldaris and studied with him the ancient teachings. It is to him that I owe my enlightenment, my departure from tradition. Like those he followed and those who followed him, he sought freedom of mind and spirit, and was murdered for it by his own mentor, Tyradun. Tyradun? One and the same. I can scarcely believe it.
Believe it, Judicator. My predecessor, Loriok,
로리오크는 또 누구야?
Nanoth, Tyradun, and Loriok, Templar, the leadership of Jabok. As pupils of the Templar, Kaldaris, myself, and the brave Sinar waged war against the mad armies of a rogue Judicator, obsessed with the forbidden secrets of Zalnagan technologies. And who was this Judicator?
Severak.
제보라크.
His name is seldom spoken. It was forbidden to record it in the archives. Such was his evil. Only Loriok kept a personal account of his doings. The tome rests in my custody now. Even I do not dare open it.
The thirst for knowledge does not denote evil intent. Judicator, you hardly knew my contemporaries. Ah, where have I heard that before? Imagine the fields of fire, soaked in the blood and dismembered limbs of your own people. A glimpse into the foul blasphemy of his evil.
No, Moloch. Even that would not be a glimpse.
I believe I understand, but what became of this Severak? And what relation does it bear to Tyradun and the death of your friend Kaldaris? Alongside our Templar masters, Kaldaris, Sinar, and I fought against Severak and his twisted minions. Their forces were legion, but we stood firm. It was in the darkest hour of our struggle that Tyradun betrayed us to Severak.
아니 근데 왜 옛날 얘기를 하고 그래? 갑자기.
Only Nanoth's interference saved Tyradun from Jabok's fury and my own blades. He sacrificed himself by forcing the merging. He and Tyradun became one. Nanoth's will was strong enough to carry out the assassination of Severak, for which we all owe him a great debt. But, in time, Tyradun's will once again grew dominant. Jabok could not bring himself to destroy his old friend Nanoth, and so sealed the Archon alive in a nondescript temple far from the comings and goings of others. After that day, I and Loriok spoke truthfully of the incident to our people. The Assembly branded us as heretics for blaspheming against the Archon's memory and calling Jabok a liar. We were exiled.
According to Loriok's journal, Nanoth Tyradun had never been seen or heard from again. That is, until you encountered him at the Temple of Jabok. May its ruins rest in peace.
I understand your doubts, Moloch, but for once, I have little to say. I must think on this. I must think on this at great length. Entaro Adun. Entaro Adun.
Was it proper to burden him with this?
Perhaps not, but it was necessary. Turmalis is wise, but his is not a questioning soul. Perhaps this may open his eyes.
Or perhaps it may close them. Forever.
야, 이런 이야기를 왜 갑자기 꺼내가지고 후말리스의 심정을 불편하게 만들어? 왜 갑자기? 마치 그런 건가? 커뮤니티 하다 보면 사람들 많이 있잖아. 거기에서 막 흑막들이라던가 뭐 과거 썰들 이야기하고 그러는 거, 그런 거랑 뭐 거의 별다를 바가 없는데. 자, 일단 목표가 추후 결정된다고 하는데 일단 해보도록 할게요.
I must regretfully inform you that the Judicator does not wish to be disturbed.
What is it, Guardian?
I am receiving a transmission from a ship in orbit. A Terran ship.
Terran?
Yes. Wait, there is more. No, he has retired to the Executor's Citadel and does not wish to be disturbed.
Tell him it's about Mox.
A transmission regarding Commander Mox.
It is merely a single Terran in orbit, Judicator. I was about to dismiss him.
No, thank you. Pass the signal through to me here.
As you wish.
Speak, Terran.
You don't know me. The name's Aster.
아니 근데 이 양반은 어떻게 알고 여기로 왔대?
Or you can call me Trench if you like.
I have no time for idle chat nor long introductions. You mentioned Commander Mox. Do you bring news of his current status?
You could say that. I'm an information broker, and I was recently hired by the commander. And I've recently discovered something interesting. Normally I just finish the job, collect my dues, and move on to the next thing, but in the light of this information, I can't exactly return to my employer.
Oh, explain.
I take it you know about Mox's exile?
I was present, yes.
I know who planted the homing beacon in Mox's quarters.
Indeed. Do tell.
아니 근데
50,000
잠깐만.
credits first.
Terran, if your information is of any use to me, you
아니 모르는 사람이 모르는 사람한테 이런 거 막 받아도 되는 거야?
Sky for wasting my time.
Fair enough. The person who planted that homing beacon wasn't Mox. It was Dale Gurney. And that's not even the interesting part. Those weren't Kelmorian wraiths attacking the station.
뭐야? 그러면 권위
Those wraiths were using fake serial numbers and transponder codes, flying around all painted up to look like Combine ships. Check your old data and you'll see
와,
that
그러면
the
그 레이스 다
signatures
권위 거야?
are specific to the troops on Mount Midnight, the old Char Psi Reserve under jurisdiction of the Combine.
I do not recall seeing a substantial air force of any kind at the commander's former base. You're saying the wraiths that attacked him belonged to the Brisbane contingent. For what purpose would they attack themselves?
Well, I managed to get my hands on a transmission between Gurney and a Kelmorian officer. But from the conversation, it turns out that the officer was just someone under Gurney's command. That Wraith Squadron's instructions were to pose as Kelmorian pilots, attack the station, set the ships on autopilot, and eject for pickup by the other officers conveniently on leave. That set the stage for the bug to be found, and Mox to get kicked off.
Does this not sound a bit contrived to you, Terran? What is the point of staging this elaborate charade just to exile Commander Mox?
그러니까 이유가 있을 거 아니야.
But that's where this little conspiracy gets good. There are a few inconsistencies here that you just can't ignore. Now, didn't Mox tell you that the Combine was planning to use an army of psionically controlled Zerg against the Dominion?
Yes.
Yeah, well, what he failed to mention was that the Combine is actually a part of the Dominion itself now. It'd be pretty stupid for the Kelmorians to want revenge over monetary losses, when the Dominion Engineering Corps is actually a subsidiary of the Combine itself. And that's just one example off the top of my head. The Combine hasn't suffered on account of Mengsk rising to power. It's gotten richer.
So the commander's information was mistaken?
Not quite. Isn't it also a coincidence that the two of them happen to be training ghosts only a stone's throw away from an old, supposedly abandoned Morian mining base? That coincidentally happened to house a platoon of telepaths in cold storage, and a psi emitter capable of luring all the Zerg on Char to any planet like flies to flypaper?
You are saying Commander Mox and his forces wanted to use the psionic technology themselves, and that he purposely lied to us in order to obtain it?
Now you're starting to get the picture.
And what of the Kelmorian troops who assaulted us shortly before the Psi Cocoon was destroyed? Commander Mox himself assisted my forces in dispatching them. And I suppose those were imposters too.
No, those were the real deal. Obviously.
아니 근데 진짜 이런 것들은 어떻게 다 알았대?
Combine was into psionic experimentation. The Dominion Engineering Corps ain't just a bunch of bridge builders and civil engineers. Somehow, Gurney and Mox got wind that the Combine was experimenting with the Zergon Ire. All that bull about a plot to overthrow Mengsk and keep the Protoss occupied? That was pure fabrication. The Psychicune on Ire was another of the Combine's experiments, and the Kelmorian forces that arrived to harass you were just there to try to preserve their investment. Mox and Gurney planned to take out the Combine, grab whatever technology that was used to create the cocoon, and return safely to a shiny new space station waiting in orbit over Ire, the most heavily infested world in the Koprolu sector. You don't actually think the two of them and their ragtag group of yokels could actually help defend your province from the rest of the Zerg rampaging
복잡해.
the rest of the planet, do you?
Continue.
Now, the short and the long of it is that your Terran buddies wanted to use the Zerg much in the same way that the fictional Combine wanted to. Except they had no intention of striking at Core Hall. Oh no. From what I read in their classified files, they wanted to pose as Combine agents, hold small Dominion border worlds for ransom, and make away like billionaires. The real Combine would take the blame and get wiped out by Dominion forces, allowing Mox and Gurney to get a foothold in the mining industry to boot.
And what of Mox's banishment?
Gurney simply got too greedy. Mox was never told the full extent of Gurney's plans, especially the part about disguising themselves as the Combine. He was just a loose end to get rid of, and they couldn't just whack him and his loyal followers without arousing too much suspicion from his new Protoss buddies.
Us.
You got it, Chief.
Gurney did not strike me as being the insidious and calculating leader you make him out to be. He seemed far too quiet and reserved to be the mastermind of such a grandiose scheme.
I hate to be trite, but it's always the quiet ones you have to watch out for. You'd be
그러게
surprised at how many
생각해보면 가장 조용한
idiots
양반들이
in
다
the galaxy
위험해.
that do crazy things like this on a daily basis, and more surprised as to how many actually get away with it.
Surprise? Nothing has surprised me in a long, long time. But I am now at a point in my life where I would actually have to agree.
So, what do you plan to do?
어쩌긴 어째.
I do. My own people
목 따야지,
are mired in
걔네들.
deceit and treachery.
Look, if you were bent on stopping a whole division of the Terran bureaucracy from annihilating the Terran throne world before, I don't see any reason why you can't stop a couple of charlatans from ruining the lives of 500 million people on 6 defenseless worlds now. It's all in a day's work. Right?
I am not so certain anymore, Terran. My homeworld is in ashes, infested by Zerg. 2 of my closest companions are dead, and others that I have respected and believed in with every ounce of my being, may be frauds and traitors.
Not to be Mr. Insensitive or anything, but I'm picking up a lot of Protoss movement all of a sudden.
뭐야?
Heading for your
프로토스?
position.
And what of it? There is much to be done here. It is not unusual that there would be heightened activity among my people.
아, 첩첩산중이다야.
Protoss are coming from the underground tunnels surrounding your city. I kind of thought you guys were surface dwellers.
Forgive me for interrupting, Judicator, but did I hear that correctly?
Moloch, I have just received word. Several Corsairs in your personal squadron have been shot down by Dracoons and Templar emerging from the caverns.
They are coming. Forgive me, Terran, if I do not jump at the chance to right every wrong your cohorts have perpetrated. I simply do not have the energy. Leave, or you may inadvertently stumble into the thick of a war you are unprepared to face.
All right, fine. I can see that nothing I've said.
그 와중에도 돈 챙기려고 하네.
But I still expect those credits to be delivered.
Go. Now.
Have fun.
야, 얘 빡치게 하지 말고 빨리 가 그냥.
Our attackers are nearly upon us.
Let them come. I am tired of fleeing. We will defend this city to the death. Be it Protoss, Zerg, Terran, or any other. We will not retreat, and we will not surrender.
자, 일단 시작을 해보도록 할게요. 이번 판 같은 경우에는 그래도 일단 굉장히 돈이 뭐야 저것들, 뭐 이렇게 많아. 일단 돈이 많기는 한데 일단 적들이 굉장히 많긴 합니다. 일단 저기 한 프로토스 있고, 자, 그리고 일단 암흑집정관 사용할 수 있어요. 그리고 일단 병력들이 뭐 이렇게 많아. 잠깐만요. 이거 병력들이 굉장히 많은데? 인구수가 153이야? 벌써?
It appears that we have no Templar or arbiters with which to combat the enemy. According to the local reports, Alderus has called a legion away from here for some sort of meeting.
일종의 회의?
Leading us as usual.
과연 그게 일종 회의일까? 아니면 뭘까?
Never mind that now. Are your Dark Templar forces ready to stand with us?
We are at your disposal.
과연 회의일까? 아니면 다른 사적인 그거일까?
Underestimate us, Judicator. We harbor powers even you do not suspect.
They may prove useful,
자,
Judicator.
일단
It appears we also have Zerg
일단
company.
부대 지정을 해두고, 자, 일단 저기에도 저그가 오고 있어요. 저기 둘이라는 소리죠. 저그랑 또 이렇게 저그랑 프로토스, 변절자 프로토스 이렇게 둘인데, 일단 포지 몇 개 더 건설을 해주도록 할게요. 일단은 좀 여러 가지로 손 봐야 될 양반들이 많습니다. 자, 일단 여러 가지로 만들어 주도록 하고, 자, 일단 또 병력도 많겠다. 이대로 한번 가보는 것도 괜찮을 것 같은데? 일단 그냥 이대로 한번 가보도록 할게요. 그래도 이 정도 하면 전진기지 하나 정도는 충분히 박살내고도 남으니까. 뭐야, 여기 일단 전진기지인 것 같으니까 일단, 자, 정리를 하겠습니다. 여기는 일단 이것저것 업그레이드를 해주도록 하고, 자, 업그레이드 해줘야 해요. 타파콘도 일단 다 해주고, 자, 잠깐만요. 일단 저그가 하나 더 있습니다. 저그가 하나 더 있는데 여기는 업이 하나도 안 돼 있어요. 업이 하나도 안 되어 있고, 자, 계속해서 한번 가보도록 할게요. 자, 일단 그래도 병력이 좀 있긴 하네요. 일단 가디언 점사를 해주고, 그리고 프로브로 하여금 1 시켜주고, 자, 일단 럴커가 있기 때문에 슬쩍슬쩍 빠져가면서 싸워줘야 합니다. 그리고 고맙게도 일단 디파일러가 수험을 걸어줬네요. 닭수험을. 자, 일단 이렇게 럴커 없애주도록 하고, 자, 일단 여기저기 무슨 바겐세일 놓치지 않으려고 백화점은 아주머니들 마냥 이렇게 병력들이 많긴 한데, 자, 일단 일일이 다 처리를 해주도록 하겠습니다. 일단 울트라도 어떻게 처리를 해주고, 일단 여짝저짝, 자, 한번 손을 봐주도록 할게요. 자, 일단 게이트나 더 늘려야겠다. 뭐 자원이 많아가지고, 시작 자원이 엄청 많아가지고 그걸로 가지고 뭐 어떻게 할 수가 없는 것 같은데. 일단 뭐 영웅들은 뭐 뒤에서 지휘를 해야 하니까 얘네들은 제외를 시키도록 하고, 자, 일단 셔틀로 하여금 태우도록 할게요. 리버들 태우고, 자, 일단 어찌저찌 이 일대는 정리가 된 것 같습니다. 일단 여기 멀티를 해주도록 하고, 여기 또 병력이 오고 있네요. 병력이 오고 있긴 한데 뭐 그래도 딱히 크게 위협이 될 만한 건 아닌 것 같습니다. 일단 게이트웨이 더 늘려주도록 하고 업그레이드. 자, 일단 저그가 박멸되었습니다. 저그가 박멸되었고 나머지 프로토스 남은 것들이 있는데, 일단 프로토스 같은 경우에는 천천히 시간을 두면서 처리를 하도록 할게요. 자, 일단 이제 처리를 해주고, 일단 근데 맵을 보니까 어디에서 많이 본 것 같은데, 일단 쟤네들이 오는 것 같으니까 일단 먼저 막아준 다음에 그 다음에 어떻게 조치를 해보도록 할게요. 일단 병력들이 왔습니다. 그리고 일단 병력 애들이 죄다 업이 안 되어 있어가지고 뭐 사업이라던가 그런 거를 제외하고는 공격력이라던가 방어력 업그레이드가 안 되어 있기 때문에, 일단 자, 여기에 기지 하나 있고 전진 기지로 보입니다. 포토랑 게이트웨이 하나밖에 없는 걸로 보았습니다. 본 기지가 여기인 것 같은데, 자, 일단 그렇게 되면 전진 기지부터 쳐주도록 할게요. 자, 일단 이렇게 계속해서 안쪽으로 들어가 주어서 오케이, 좋습니다. 일단 이 일대는 정리가 되었어요. 일단 하얀색 프로토스가 어그로 끌려가지고 오고 있긴 한데 이미 다 정리가 되었기 때문에 더 이상 의미가 없습니다. 여기는. 자, 일단 드라곤 계속해서 뽑아주도록 하고, 또 병력 발무리 해줘서 본대로 바로 가도록 하겠습니다. 이거 왠지 거의 보너스 미션 같은데? 여긴 뭐야? 더블렉을 하고 있네? 일단 이렇게 계속해서 앞으로 가서, 일단 템들로 하여금 일단 포토를 썰어주도록 하고, 자, 포토가 다 썰어졌습니다. 자, 그러면 여기만 남았는데, 일단 병력이 별로 없어요. 병력이 별로 없고, 아까 어그로가 끌려준 덕분에 병력이 거의 없습니다. 그래가지고 쉽게 끝날 것 같아요. 오케이, 끝난 것 같습니다.
The enemy lines have been broken. We are safe for now.